Eco-centric design is when you learn what's there, and then design to fit what you learn is there. And in effect, the idea that people talk about behind this process is that the design starts to just show itself from all of this information of, here's where the water flows across, here's where the topography is, here's where existing vegetation is, here's where the shade is the most time, here's where the sun is the most time. You start to naturally evolve a sense of where the obvious places are for, here'd be a good place for an outbuilding, here'd be a good place for a garden, here's a good place for an access road. It all starts to become pretty much self-determined because there's only so many good spots for what it is that then you're wanting to finesse with that site. So good analysis and assessment is often done with several map overlays. So you'll have a base map that just shows outlines of the property and topographical features. Then you'll have another map that shows where water flows across the property, where's the sun hitting the most on the property. Then you'll have another overlay that shows you vegetation, existing vegetation, wildlife paths that go across the property, perhaps access and circulation useways. And then another overlay that's going to show you right-of-ways, existing buildings, and then you start to create a design from that. So once you see all of that, once you see where the water is flowing, you see what the topography is, you see what the light and shade patterns are, you see where the existing vegetation is, all of a sudden the design just starts to kind of create itself from that. And that's part of the Dave Jackie Conway School of Landscape Design version of permaculture that we teach when we teach it at Yestermore, is that we go much more in-depth into a lot of mapping and analysis and assessment. So these checklists are created as a key tool in that process. So these are telling you, you may decide to do a separate map for climate, landform, water, and then another map for access, circulation, vegetation, and wildlife, then another map for microclimate, buildings, infrastructure, and zones of use. So you can decide what blocks work well with one another, color code them differently. And a lot of these too, like when we're showing slope, we're just recommending things like small arrows for a steep slope, big arrows for a gentle slope. So the idea is graphics that you can see from like the other side of a room if it's a big poster. So everybody in the class puts up big posters of designs that they've done and presents them. And that's how then we critique them and know that people have learned how to do it. And that's what you do in a design certification course.